over. It's only going to get colder. Current temperature is 5 degrees. It was 2 degrees, but managed to put my heater on, which is down there, and it's pretty pathetic. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is probably maybe a garage video, is try a new heater out in the garage. This is a 2000 kilowatt, but I might try a 3000 kilowatt. Doesn't blow the fuse, and try that. And then I'm also thinking of replacing the 2 fluorescent tubes I have here with LED lights. I'm going to bring a lux meter home from work and try the lux level, because I think it's pretty poor and could be a lot better. Anyway, having decided to come in the garage, I've decided I'm going to write a list of jobs. So I've got a number of projects on the go. First one, well, the first one really is the garage. I need to tidy it some more. Even though it's fairly tidy, I somehow still have things stored, and I seem to have filled that side of the garage again already. So I need to do something about that. So first job, tidy the garage, paint the door, paint the window. I was going to paint the floor, but it's probably too cold for that now until March. The next job, got into the Porsche Boxster. A couple of jobs on that to do. Notice it's a common fault on them. The header tank has a slight crack underneath. It goes brittle over time. It's got a small weep. It's not a lot of a leak, but it's enough that you have that horrible sweet coolant smell in the cab, so I want to sort that out. And then when it's warmed up, there's something not quite right at the steering at the front, either a front suspension lower arm, I think they call them coffin arms, maybe one of the tie rods or ball joints, past its MOT, but to be honest it doesn't feel right, and when you get going at speed it feels like the steering wheel isn't fully connected to the wheels, and it just feels like it wants to kill you, so I need to sort that out. The next, well, a bit of a theme here actually, 58 GMC Apache. That also feels like it's trying to kill me, and that's because there's some playing the kingpin, there's the front pins, the shackle pins, there's some playing there, so every time I go over a bump it's dancing around and it's like a bit of bump steer, and you just feel like you're being pulled all over the road. To be honest, got to admit there is a huge difference between driving the 58 Apache and the Porsche. Obviously this does handle reasonably well, and this you don't go very fast in, and it's cart springs front and back with solid axles, where this is the Porsche's independent suspension. So I'm not trying to get the two cars to drive like each other, but I do know the Porsche could drive better than it is, and I definitely know the truck could drive better than it is. And the other thing I need to sort out is the flex plate. The starter motor isn't aligned properly with the flex plate, so it's lost a few of the teeth, so there is a point that will stop the engine. Obviously with the compression it only stops, 6-cylinder engine stops in about 3 places, and of one of those places, so I've got a 1 in 3 chance depending how it is, it'll stop where there's no teeth, and it's a bit of a bugger to start, where it'll eventually catch and go over. Usually when there's a massive crowd of people watching me, there's no one watching, it'll start fine. The next one I've got to work on is a board track racer bike, which needs making really. That's sat over here. My friend Chris has done some work on one of the spare engines for it, so I need to push that engine back in because it's all polished up, and I've got a little bike carb off a pit bike which I think is going to run better with that. So basically you need to sort the engine, do the carb, make the tank, fix the seat properly, paint it, footrest, some sort of chain belt so I don't lose my feet when it's running, or gouge my leg out, and make some sort of clutch. I'm thinking of a friction clutch on it with drive belts and a lever, just to be a bit more sort of old school and authentic. I could just get a centrifugal clutch off a modern pit bike go-kart, but I'm trying to avoid that and make something a little bit more funky. And the Dodge Dart, I haven't written down the jobs, but basically that's just got a full A4 page of things to do, recommission. So I'm going to basically over this winter, I think. That's not going to work at all, is it? That's going to look bad. I'm going to try and work on these 4 projects, well actually 5 projects, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4 vehicles, and tidy the garage. The reality is I'll probably only do one of them and the garage will get even untidier, but at least we started off with a plan. Okay, talk soon. Another possible project I'd forgotten about altogether is this funky little pit bike I picked up. Picked it up just for a couple of quid with a couple of spare engines, motorised scooter, and I might put the engine back in that and work on it, or to be honest, time's short, I might just stick this on eBay, quit while I'm ahead and work on what I'm meant to be working on. So let's see where it takes me. Right, what I'm going to try and look at is putting a different carburetor on this engine. Now unfortunately I've lost the manifold part that goes between the carburetor and here. Well, you can see this here, the bore in the actual head, or the block as it is on this, is only 15, call it 15, whereas this is 19. So on the actual short inlet, which is down on the other engine, goes about there, must obviously step down. Now got these pit bike carburetors. In fact, I've got 3 of them, all brand new, so might try one of these. The reason I'm going to try one of these, I think, is the fact that if you look at it, sorry, let me show you on this one, the way the lawnmower engine works, there isn't actually a needle in it, there's just a butterfly valve. So if I can get close enough, the butterfly valve opens and just draws petrol up from a Venturi effect, but it never seems to work very well. It seems to open it up, suck too much air in and bog down, and all the things online say there's nothing much you can adjust on them. There's no there's like an idler screw, rough tick over screw, and that's about it. So I'm going to scrap that idea, go for this, which is obviously a brand new carburetor. I've got 3 of them. You can see that's the actual air intake side, so you can see to the engine side when I open it up, it's actually got a needle in it as well, which goes up on a pivot. So as you sort of open it up like that, it'll go up as well. Sorry, it'll go up like that, so as this goes up, it lifts the needle up and lets more fuel through. So it's doing 2 things, this really, it's letting more air in and letting more fuel up from this lower chamber. So I'm going to try that. And this here is 15mm, so get it open right a bit there, so it's the same size as that. Obviously the orientation is different though, because this one looks to be on about 45 degrees and this is straight. So I'm thinking that needs a little short manifold making between the 2 of them. Might even just taper it off slightly to get it away from that exhaust rather than being in line like that. Have it like that. Another option I've got this engine here, which has got another carburetor on it, so I might take this carburetor off, have a look, see what the dimensions of the port are on it, see how that would work. And then finally I've got this engine as well, which is a similar carburetor, but I want to see what the manifold's like, because the manifold might actually fit on there. I could be lucky with that, and again I might not be. Now both these engines, these 2 engines here, these are 2-stroke engines, whereas this one's 4-stroke. I'm hoping it's not going to make a huge difference to the running of it, but let's try. What's the worst going to happen? Fail, doesn't work. It's not running now, so there's no difference. So first of all, I'm going to take this one off. Let's get this one over there. Let's strip this down and have a look, see what we've got in here. No, little air filter element there, just presses on there. It's like it's a couple of Allen key bolts here and here. Let's see what I can find. Let's see if I can be right first time. Oh, look at that. Honestly, I hadn't tried that before. There's a skill you hone after 30 years of being in the garage. You pick up an Allen key and it works. Right, so let's take this off. Right, so that's obviously going through like a couple of reeds. That's still too big for that manifold, so it wouldn't work on there, but it is. $13mm, so that's a bit smaller. Right. So we've got a choke on it there. Choke mechanism, flow bowl. That's a possibility. We still need to make an adapter plate. Now, let's put this back on here for now. Right, so look at the other one. Right, how do we get into this? This looks like it's seen a bit of days. This is all nicely rusted up. There we go. Cover off that one. Air filter again. It's looking a bit funky. Right, let's see if I'm lucky with the Allen key. Oh, I am. There we go. So that's the whole carburetor off and air filters. Bit of a crude gasket. Might as well leave that together like that. Now then, what I'm interested in here. No, that's not going to work, is it?
I was hoping that this would be the same spacing as on my engine.
Obviously it's not. No. No such luck, but they are 36mm this is 32, 31. Now the other thing I noticed on this on this carburetor here, it's got a little port there. I presume it's some sort of idle control to just let a bit of air through when the throttle's off. So you can see that hole. Yeah, you'll notice it takes up more parts in bits, so it's as well to keep everything together. So what have I learnt from that? Well, I've learnt I need some sort of bypassing the manifold. This side is the carb side. That's what I might do. I might put I'll put an E on that for engine side, and that's the filter side. So I can't use this either because that's too small. So this can go back together. Right, so there we go, that's back together. Right, so what have I learned? Well, not a lot really. Half an hour of faffing around in the garage. I've learnt, and there's some sort of manifold between there and there, so I can even try this, and even then it might not work. So I need some metal to, I need to draw a gasket out first of all for that. Probably out of cardboard. Make one for that. Make one for that. Try this out. These are the same spacing. So if we've got 31. 31, yeah. So the spacing is the same. What a shame we can't just bolt it on like that, eh? And I've done with. Why the heck did they do that? That would make it so easy. Anyway, so what I want to do, make two plates, rotate it around like that with a short tube in between, and then I can get the carb running. I think I've got gasket for that in the house. So we'll get that gasket, bring that gasket in, draw it on a bit of metal, cut it out, drill it out. I might make it a nice project to do on the milling machine. Tidy it out, make it look neat, take it from there. Yes, I think that's what I will do. Probably using some plate like this, 3mm plate. That will look nice. What I need to do, clean this up so I can draw it on there, scribe it on there, and then get sawing. This could take some time.